Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Welcome back inside the Lock Shop, everybody. Nielsen and Hus back with you here on a Wednesday. Take a look at the Honda Classic and some action both at the Scotties and in the National Hockey League tonight as well. Late night in the NHL. As always, the Lock Shop brought to you by our wonderful partners over at Coolbet. Sign up for an account today. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do for 100% deposit bonus on an initial deposit up to $200. We're almost at 600 members on the YouTube channel. So if you're not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, just search Lock Shop Bets over there. We'll tweet out a link to it. And we'll continue our push towards $1,000 when we will are 1,000 subscribers, and we will give away $1,000 when we hit that number. Huss, it's freezing cold in Edmonton right now. What's it like in Winnipeg? Is it cold there too?
It's freezing, man.
It's like minus 28 here today.
We have not had a bad winter Winnipeg wise. I mean, we've had a couple snaps, but it hasn't been like the 2 weeks of minus 30 we inevitably get. But as we speak here right now, the good old extreme cold warning's in effect. It's minus 24. Going to get up to minus 5 on Sunday, though, so we got to get through
same as us.
Days.
Warms up on the weekend, so a couple cold
The
days.
thing is, there's a massive blizzard just south of us through North Dakota and Minnesota. We're expecting like 17 to 20 inches of snow. So to be honest with you, we can suck it up for a few days in some real cold and not have to deal with 20 inches of snow. I think we'll take that trade-off for a little bit. Man, I'm so choked at the Caps last night. We had the over in the Buffalo-Toronto game. Carolina continues to roll, got the puck line on that. And, a terrible start at home. They were down 2-0 early, got the power play goal to make it 2-1, and just could not score. And it just seems like, since Ovi's been gone from the club, it's
Looks
amazing.
like he's back. Looks like he's back now. So
yeah, but I mean, it just goes to show you how dependent that team for so long has been on Alex Ovechkin. And listen, I know you're an Ovi guy. He has been, one of the greatest players in history. But even at this age, he is the catalyst for just about everything that team does. And they're in a serious predicament right now with that loss last night.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do or how they approach it before the deadline. I don't think they'll be selling. Not too sure they'll be able to add much either. Might just have to get Ovi back and go on a bit of a run, right? Like that might be the only plan that they have. The Oilers last night had him in that first period and was not a good start. They had 10 combined shots through the first two periods of that hockey game last night. And they did manage to come out of the first period on even ground. Barry scored with 3 seconds left to make it 1-1. Stinker by Skinner on a wraparound in the first. I was like, you're killing me. But then McDavid kind of just took over in the third period, buddy, and they come back and get the win against the Philadelphia Flyers. McDavid had 9 shots on goal last night. All of the other forwards combined for the Oilers had 8. McDavid had more shots on goal last night than all of the other Oilers forwards combined. It was insane.
You would follow this team a lot closer than I do, but it just seems like they're like waiting for something to happen right now. I mean, for crying out loud, there's 2 points or now 3 points separating Vegas and Edmonton at the top of that division. They had that patsy schedule and they took advantage of it, but you're just sort of waiting for a little bit more from Edmonton right now. And I mean, listen, I know we're going to be talking bets and picks for these games tonight. But with all of the trade scuttlebutt and talk around the league, there's a lot of interesting possibilities for Edmonton. But I have to admit, I'm sort of left wanting a little bit more from the guys that are there right now.
It's weird because since the All-Star break, they've lost a bunch of games in overtime and shootout, right? Like 8 straight games that have gone past regulation, they've lost. But at the same time, in their last 16 games, they've got points in 15 of them. They've only lost 1 game in regulation in their last 16, but they've lost 3 or 4 in a row in overtime or shootout prior to the win last night. So we'll see what ends up happening at the deadline. We'll talk about the deadline more next week, obviously, as we creep towards it. And then on deadline day and the next day, it's Edmonton and Winnipeg, right? Back-to-back home and home. So that'll be good. That'll be fun.
Is the Friday game in Winnipeg or is the Friday game in?
Friday game is here, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Is it
Friday?
Yeah.
Friday game here, and then they play 22 hours later in Winnipeg. Those will be two interesting games. We'll have to get some good exclusives going for those games in the lock shop.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, lock shop exclusives for sure. So 3 games tonight in the National Hockey League. Hus, you've got an exclusive for this Jets game?
Yeah, I mean, let's just take a quick look at these games. I mean, Calgary is in Arizona. Speaking of a team that needs to win a hockey game and get 2 points, that's the Calgary Flames right now. I mean, they, of course, just lost to Philly at home. They're now in Arizona. Arizona's been sneaky good, though, at home. I mean, I'm just looking at this. They're 13-8-2 at home this year. So, I mean, it's no gimme right now. But anyway, so you've got that game. Calgary's the big favorite at -221. And then the Blackhawks, after that shootout win over Vegas last night in Dallas. Dallas a -478 favorite in this game. So really, if you're looking at a game that's sort of close to even odds, the one you're going to be looking at is the one involving the Winnipeg Jets and the New York Islanders. That one opened up as a pick'em this morning. I see it's moved a little bit to -111 for the Islanders at -105 for the Jets. Patty and Jake asked me to put together a little exclusive tonight for the Jets game. And obviously, we'll think positively on hopefully the Jets can come out of this road trip at 500 after the brilliance of Connor Hellebuck against the Rangers the other night with that 50-save performance. So if you go to the exclusives right now, we put together a little bet builder with a nice juicy number on it. Jets to win. The over-under in this game is 5.5. We're going to take over 4.5. So total goals of 5 or more. And Nikolai Ehlers needs to get off the schneid and score a goal. So we've got a Nikolai Ehlers goal. That one on a bet builder comes up to 4 plus 450. Uncle Patty's juiced it up a little bit. So we've got it at a straight up 5-1 bet builder. Ehlers to score over 4.5 goals and the Jets to win tonight. And that is up right now.
How much of a schneid is Ehlers on, buddy?
Well, listen, it hasn't been terrible. But listen, the whole team's been having a tough time scoring goals as of late. And the big thing is the lines have been changing. He's back now playing with Connor and Dubois. And that's, I think, a big reason why he hasn't scored in his last 5 games. He did get an assist in the last one, but there'd been a little bit of a power outage. When the Jets score 3 goals, they win. I mean, that basically comes with the territory when you've got a guy like Connor Hellebuck, but you don't want to force him to make 50 saves the way he did against the Rangers. And then the Islanders are a really weird team. I mean, they had those big wins against Pittsburgh, sandwiched with a really disappointing loss in between. So I'm really looking forward to this game. And we do expect it'll be Hellebuck in net. I imagine it'll be Sorokin for the Islanders. So much like the game we saw with Shesterkin and Hellebuck going at it 2 nights ago, this is a hell of a goaltending matchup between these two clubs. That being said, I sort of feel like the Jets with those 4 goals, and it was Scheifele, it was Pierre-Luc Dubois, it was Kyle Connor scoring. The big guys really showed up. So the one guy that didn't get one, Nikolai Ehlers, he's very much due. He's playing with those guys tonight. He's back on the #1 power play. So I think we've got a nice little spot here for Ehlers at some pretty good value to add to that bet builder. Get over 4.5 goals and a Jets win, and we'll cash it at plus 5-1. $25 plays 150. I just locked it in.
Before we get to the Honda Classic, we're going to head to the Pebble Ice in a sec. But this must be a Winnipeg Sports Talk, guys, on the YouTube chat. Haas, Tikona in the house. I think I need some betting pointers. Tikona Pauly?
Tikona Pauly, WST legend. WST legend. And from an area of the city that we refer to as God's country, a little far away. But if you're looking to have some fun in Winnipeg, a trip out to Transcona will do you well. Got our old pal Jim Toth and a few of the fellas out. And,
good.
They jumped in a cab at about midnight on Friday, made a late executive decision to head out there. Had a heck of a time. So, shout out to Tikona Pauly. He'll be in the Winnipeg Sports Talk chat coming up in less than an hour right now. So, shout out to all the WSTers enjoying the lock shop.
I love it. Hus, to the Scotties before we get to the Honda Classic. What do you got for the Scotties today?
Yeah, well, and speaking, if you are into the curling, we've got a great interview coming up with Reed Carruthers, great friend of the program, who, of course, is coaching Team Carrie Anerson, who are 6-0, looking for their 4th consecutive Scotties championship. And of course, he'll be skipping in the Briar as well. So we will have a nice curling segment coming up later on Winnipeg Sports Talk today. But the Einarson rink is off today. They're 6-0. They've got 2 games tomorrow. So I'm looking at this afternoon draw, which starts, I guess, at 3:30 our time, 2:30 in Edmonton. I'm going to pick a couple favorites and throw them on a parlay. Alberta is a plus 110 underdog to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia has been really impressive right now and have put themselves in a position where the couple more wins, they can pretty much clinch their spot in the playoff round. They're right now alone in second, 4-2, 2 games back of the Einarson rink. They're a minus 141 favorite against Alberta, who's at 3-2. Huge game in Pool A. We'll go with Nova Scotia. They've looked great so far. And then the other matchup a little later on, Caitlin Laws, who took the Einarson rink to right to the brink. I mean, it was a 10-9 game that could have gone either way. The closest matchup Team Einarson and Team Canada's had all year long, or all event long. They're minus 244 favorites against BC. So we'll go Nova Scotia at minus 141, minus 244 for the Laws rink at the wild card. Comes together at plus 141. Just a little 2-gamer for the afternoon draw. I'm just looking right now. I'm not sure. Let's just see whether these we don't have the evening draw odds up yet because some of the teams are playing right now in this morning draw. So Nova Scotia wild card 1 plus 41 on a 2-gamer for the afternoon draw at the Scotties.
Speaking of future bets, but things that are already up, 10 games tomorrow in the National Hockey League already up and ready to go at Cool Bet. So if you want to maybe parlay something tonight with something tomorrow night, because it's a quiet board tonight, you can do that right now at Cool Bet. And when you do go to Cool Bet, make sure you use the code LOCKSHOP when you sign up.
You know what else we have tomorrow night? Thursday night football, XFL style.
Oh my God.
There's a Thursday nighter. I was just checking the schedule last night.
I might have to make that the Lock Shop play of the day, buddy.
Yeah. Now we're talking. Talking.
I'm making a note right now. Lock Shop play of the day, Thursday, XFL. Perfect. All right, buddy. Where are we going here? Honda Classic. Obviously a weaker field than what we've seen as of late. And I think that's why we're both on guys at the top. And I will be honest with you here. I really like Shane Lowry. If you didn't have Lowry on your card, I was probably going to have him on mine. When you did, I'm more than comfortable making a case for Sanjay here at 10-1. So we've kind of got our bases covered here, Hus, but lay it out here. Who do you got?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Lowry. I mean, he almost won this event last year. He finished second and almost got pickpocketed at the end by, I believe it was Sepp Straka. The one thing I'll say about this event, if you look back to historically, there are a ton of long shots. I really like the 3 guys that I came down to finish my card on, but I'll probably drop a fin on a couple guys that are 125-1, 100-1. Those are always the most fun bets to have if the guys are in the mix on Sunday at such a big number. But with the bottom line is we haven't had any big underdogs win in a long, long time. I mean, I think it might go back to KH Lee at 100-1 last year for a huge underdog. And as we've said, you're looking at the board right now. Sungjae is the favorite at 10-1. Then Lowry at 18. You've got Cooch, Alex Noren, Aaron Wise at 25-1. Kirk, Denny McCarthy at 28, and then Billy Ho, Minwoo Lee, and Adam Svensson at 30. I went with Lowry right off the bat because, first of all, he's been playing well as of late. I mean, he has been in the mix. I think his game's in a good spot, and he certainly has some good vibes on this course, which is one of the toughest courses all year long on the PGA Tour outside of the major championships. So pretty hard not to look. I'll be honest. I love the 18-1. I mean, when you consider that he's the second guy on the board, that he finished second at this event last year, that he has been playing well. I would have thought that this would have been more like 14 or 15-1. And I think it may be some other books. It is Coolbet continuing to give us the best numbers when it comes to golf. So we'll take the big burly Irishman for the first pick. And then the other guy that I thought provided great value is Billy Horschel. Now, Billy Ho, I believe, missed the cut last week at the Genesis. I'm not going to take too much from that. He's certainly, I believe he's the second or third ranked player in the world playing in this matchup. And it really stood out to me that, we're talking about a guy at 30-1 in such a light field. So I think Billy Horschel, just the fact that he's got the game, he's won before, very competitive in all sorts of courses, and has the length that you need at the Honda Classic to stay in it. So we're going to go with Billy Ho at 30-1. And then the other guy, and I know Pat and the Cool Bet guys are going to love this. Could this be the week for our guy, Taylor Pendrith? I'm sure Patty will put some exclusives on Pendrith up, and sometimes they'll boost Pendrith's number as well. So before you bet Pendrith, check the exclusives to see whether that's there. But at 35-1, here's the thing about Taylor. He is now turned into a guy that can compete week to week on the PGA Tour. This is an event that often has provided an opportunity for guys that have been somewhat out of the big favorites to win. And here's the other thing. You got to bomb the ball. Length is so important. Shots gained off the tee is one of the key metrics in this event. And Pendrith has been one of the best on the PGA Tour in doing exactly that. Listen, the putter's got to get hot, and that was pretty much the case for anyone that's going to win a tournament. But I really do think he has the game, and this is exactly the sort of course I think that bodes well as a field that maybe without some of the top players, that Pendrith could very well be in the mix. So wouldn't be right if we didn't get a little love for our Cool Bet guy, Taylor Pendrith. So Lowry 18-1, Billy Ho at 30, and we're going to put a little sprinkle on Taylor Pendrith, the Canadian, at 35-1 in the Honda Classic.
Man, wouldn't it be great that like a Cool Bet sponsored golfer from Canada hits in a week that we've actually picked them on the lock shop?
Absolutely.
Oh, that would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right, so there you go. Lowry, Billy Ho, and Pendrith. I got a Canadian on the card here too in Svensson at 30-1. And this is a little bit of current form, recent course history here as well. At the Riv. Last week, his short game, I should say, overall, his short game was absolutely on fire. Ends up with 3 sub-70 rounds at the Genesis T9. T9 is a number he's familiar with. It's a spot he's familiar with because he was T9 at the Honda Classic last year as well. And it was funny how it went down because he started great last year at this event. 69, followed by a 65 on Friday. And then heading into the weekend, I don't know if it got, the spotlight might have got a little bit too big or whatever, but he ended up finishing 71, 73. So he was excellent early last year, still ended up with a T9. So he's played this course well as recently as last year. He's been at this event twice. He made the cut both times, and you're getting him at 30-1 here. So I'm going to be on the Canadian Adam Svensson. I'll work my way up towards Kirk here.
Just one thing on Svensson. I was looking at him too. And the one thing about Svensson for some of these guys that are outside of the big favorites is he's won before. And it's not that long ago. I mean, he had that incredible 64-62-64 finish at the RSM Classic back in November for his first PGA Tour win. And you can't underestimate what a win can do for a guy, knowing that they can get it done, especially in a field like this without some of the biggest and best players in the world waiting for you on Sunday afternoon.
It should be hopefully he can perform. I'm going to hop on Chris Kirk here as well. He missed the cut at Waste Management, but prior to that, T3 at the Amex, finished a solo third at the Sony Open, and has played this event 11 times. I don't know how many guys you're going to have in the field this week that have played this thing 11 times. His last 2 trips to this course, 25th and 21 and 7th last year. So, and I think he had a 12th place finish like 8 years ago, but it seems like, 9 years of playing this event has really paid off the last 2 years for him. So, and he's been great as of late. I mean, who had Kirk for a couple of top 3 finishes at any point this year, let alone, 2 of the last, six events. So Kirk is at 28-1. And then I will hop on Sanjay. Like I said, I did like Shane Lowry as well. Once I dove into Sanjay, I think I end up liking him a little bit more. And that's why you're going to get him at 10-1. He's a favorite in this event. Now Not great at the Genesis. T56 at the Genesis, missed the cut at the Sony, but those are really sort of the only blemishes on this guy's record in the last 3 or 4 months. He won this event in 2020. He was 8th in 2021. He actually missed the cut here last year, but he's got 5 top 20s since December. I mean, he's been as steady as they come. You put him in a field like this on this extended heater that he's on right now. I was wondering what the number would be because I was looking at, all the numbers before going to Coolbet to see what it was going to be. I knew he was the favorite. I was wondering if it was going to be like 7-1, 8-1. So I was pretty happy that it was 10-1 when you look at the rest of the field and what Sanjay's accomplished and how he's playing right now. So I will hop on a guy who's won this event as recently as 2 years ago and has been playing extremely well. And, coming off a T56 of the Genesis, there's some motivation here against this field to kind of get back on track. So I think you can get him plus 100 to finish top 10, which I mean, if you just want to try to, double your money here, that's something you could certainly do. But you can get him at 10-1 to win the entire thing. And I think you can get him at right now 22-1 to be the leader after round 1. So that's another way you can look and get some action here on the Honda Classic.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Sungjae, listen, we've talked about Sungjae a lot on the Lock Shop over the last couple years. I mean, multiple PGA Tour winner, former winner of this event. And he was in a good spot at the Genesis after the first 2 rounds. He went 69-69. And I think the putter sort of betrayed him in that 3rd round. He shot 74, was kind of out of it and, ended up whatever with the 73. But you look back at those 2 events before then, finished 67-69 on the weekend for a T6 at the Waste Management and was T4 at the Farmers. So Sungjae has his game going, and he's a guy, I know you think, oh man, he's played a lot. He always plays a lot. I mean, the guy, he basically didn't have a home for his first year and a half in North America. He was just living in golf courses and hotels for the better part. So Sungjae certainly is the guy to beat. I think Sungjae Im and Shane Lowry really are those 2 guys, although I do like Billy Ho's chances to be in the mix. But don't hesitate to throw a little sprinkle on a few guys lower down if there is a guy you like him, because the history of the Honda Classic shows that it really can be anybody's tournament. And we have seen some big, long numbers at this event in the past.
Chaz, Big Uke on the YouTube chat again, has done it again. Huss's curling bets plus the Ehlers goal is sitting at plus 754 for those who are interested. So another way to look at it there. You get that Ehlers goal and some luck on the pebble today, and you'll be all right. You'll be okay.
Let's do it. You know what? Just while we're at it, I do see we've got a couple exclusives for the Honda Classic. One is any Canadian player winner. So if you're trying to decide between Taylor Pendrith and Adam Svensson, you can just go yes on that one, 20-1 for either of those players and any other Canadian in the field. And then the Greggy Golf Special, Billy Ho, Sungjae Im, Taylor Pendrith, all to finish top 20.
3 of our guys.
3 of our guys. Count me in on that. That's 11-1 right now. So I will certainly be getting on that right now in the Coolbet Golf Boosted Odds Specials Honda Classic exclusives, courtesy of our good friend Pat Gregoire.
We'll have another episode coming up on Friday. I think there's 6 games in the NHL that night, and we'll set up the rest of the weekend in the XFL. Recap a little XFL Thursday nighter. I saw the numbers, like the TV viewing numbers, the ratings, or whatever you want to call it. They're about half of what they were in 2020 on Fox. It's still not a bad number. I mean, I think a couple of them were over 1 million. I don't know. I'm a little surprised. It's on ESPN, ABC. Is that where that's where it's at right now? So I'm a little surprised that they're that much lower than it was a couple years ago. But
you know what? I mean, I'm not sure a lot of people knew that it was starting. Yeah. I mean, they didn't quite have maybe some of the fanfare going in. But I will say this, with The Rock now behind it, them owning it, I think they've got committed ownership. And listen, the bottom line is people love to watch football. People love to bet on football. So I'm hoping that it goes well. Like I'm a big proponent of XFL because of the television they've had. They've got a few similar names. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't seen the game, some of the rules, we talked about this earlier, are wild.
It looks intriguing. I definitely want to sit down and watch a game from start to finish.
No more onside kicks. You go 4th and 15. So listen, it's fun. And as I say, we get a couple weeks in, I think we'll have a better idea about the teams, the talent in the league, and hopefully bang out a couple more winners while watching some spring football on the tube.
All right, be ready for an episode of the Lock Shop later in the week, and also be watching Cool Bet Accounts today for the Lock Shop Play of the Day. I'll bang that out. And Hus, enjoy that Jets game tonight, buddy, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
Thanks, Dusty.